Hi everyone, good afternoon, and thank you for your patience whilst we wait to get started with today's webinar. My name is Mark and I'm a member of the Learning Solutions team here at Sage, and I'll be taking you through today's session, which is reporting in Sage Accounting. That's the UK version, both the standard and the plus variants. So that's Sage Business Cloud Accounting. So I just want to make sure that everybody watching today is on the right introduction, which is today we're looking at our cloud-based software. So if you use your internet browser to access Sage and then you enter your email address and password to log in, then you're on the correct webinar today, because today is our cloud native software, which is Sage Business Cloud Accounting. If you use our desktop software, if you use Sage 50, we're not covering that today. You'd need to go to our website and find the training for Sage 50. So Sage 50 is our desktop product, which you access by clicking on an icon on your desktop. So you don't access it online like you do Sage Business Cloud. So today's webinar will last around 30 minutes. So I am expecting a few more delegates to arrive. So we're going to go through a quick housekeeping screen to take you through all your options regarding handouts, etc. So hopefully by the time we're finished on that, we'll have some more people logging in. So just a quick piece of housekeeping. I have muted everyone's lines just to stop any background noise or interference that can sometimes happen in this group meeting scenario. However, that doesn't mean that you can't ask questions. Please simply submit your questions using the Q&A panel in your GoToWebinar window. Now, you'll also receive a link tomorrow with a recording of today's session. And please note, I have included a couple of versions of slides today. One is full color with the ability to use the links in the slides, and one I've optimized for black and white, which means you can print that off if you still wish to do so. Now, I've got Claire supporting me on the panel today, so please feel free to ask questions. And at the end of today's session, I will check the Q&A panel as well, check that section towards the end of today's session and make sure that everyone's been replied to. And if there are any questions that are useful to the group, I'll share those as well. So let's have a look at today's agenda. So today I'm going to cover what are the main reports in Sage Accounting, where will I find them, when and why would I run them. We're going to look at the dashboard summary. In particular, we're going to look at accessing the cash flow forecast report from the dashboard summary screen. And we'll have a look at any further support you might need moving forward through the Help Center. Now, before I actually look at the three main reports, profit and loss, balance, and your trial balance, I just want to show you in the software where your main reports are held and all your full reporting suite as well. So I'm just going to bring my software up before we jump into profit and loss, balance and trial balance. So here I've logged into my software, obviously either from sage.com or wherever you've got your login screen bookmarked. And I've entered my email address and password, and it's dropped me into my summary tab, which is the first tab you've got across your main navigation menu, your global navigation bar across the top. So if I go further along towards the right, I've got my reporting tab here. And as I hover over reporting, you can see I can directly jump into my VAT return, my balance sheet, my profit and loss standard, comparative and customizable, my trial balance. But if I want to see the full reporting suite, I can just click on more, or I can just click on the top reporting tab straight away. So it's dropped me now right into my reporting suite. So you can see here I've got my essential reports on the left, my VAT return, my CIS reports at the bottom left, I've got my detailed reports here on the right and my cash reports further down. So today we're going to be covering off the profit and loss, balance and trial balance. So as you can see, the three main reports, your profit and loss has a standard version, a customizable version and a comparative version. Your balance sheet has a standard, customizable, and your trial balance has a standard and customizable. So I'll be going through all of those. So I'll start off in the standard for each, and then we'll go into the customizable for each. And the customizable is also known as smart reporting. And I'll be going into the smart reports to show you the more customizable options, which will allow you to change your rows and columns and add filters, etc. Now, like I said, your other reports include your aged debtors and aged creditors. Your age debtors report and your age creditors report allows you to access and see what your balances are and how long they've been outstanding. And you've also got your nominal activity reports, and your nominal activity reports allow you to, this and your audit trail, allow you to see what transactions you've entered and when you've entered them. And like I said, further down, your VAT reports, if you are VAT registered, you will be fully compliant for MTD purposes. I'm going to cover that off later as well. And it's very easy to generate your VAT return once you've registered for your VAT on the HMRC website, and you'll be able to calculate it and submit it online to the HMRC directly through your VAT return here. But today we're going to be looking at the profit and loss report, your balance sheet, and your trial balance in particular. So your profit and loss report, what exactly actually is it? So in summary, the profit and loss report displays the total sales and expenses of your business during a specific period. It calculates the profit by subtracting the associated costs from the sales. Your profit and loss report is also known as an income statement or a profit and loss statement. So why is it important? So it shows if your business is making or losing money, and it shows where you're making money, and it shows how much you're spending and what on. So what is actually included in your profit and loss? You've got your sales, which is how much you've earned through selling goods or services or from other income streams. You've got direct expenses, which is also called the cost of sales, and this represents the cost to you of selling your goods and services, such as the cost of raw materials, staff, or purchasing a product to resell. For example, you will spend money on food and staff if you own, say, a restaurant. And then you've got overheads, also known as expenses or indirect expenses, and these play a role in the general running expenses of a business. But unlike direct expenses, which are directly related to a specific cost object, such as a service or product. So some examples of overheads are wages for non-sales employees, rent, repairs, bills for utilities, advertising and marketing, and travel. Then you've got your gross profit, which is the amount of money you make from your sales less than your direct expenses, and your net profit, which is the amount left over after paying all of your bills and other expenses. So let's jump straight into the software itself and demonstrate your profit and loss for you. So here we are in my reporting suite. I could just jump to it from the drop down, but here we are. I'm just going to jump straight into my standard report here. So as we've just described, the profit and loss summarizes the revenues, costs, and expenses incurred during a specific period, and it provides information about whether a company can generate profit by increasing revenue, reducing costs, or both. And now you can review this information through a side-by-side comparison of your analysis types. So to run the standard report, I've opened that through your main global menu at the top. And this is our standard date range filterable report, which can easily be changed and customized. So if I go to the period here, I can run this report by month, quarter, last month, last quarter, last year, or I can customize it by clicking on custom and change the from and to fields here. And once I've done that, I would click calculate to recalculate it with the new from and to dates. I can also change the period, and then also I can export this to either a CSV or PDF file. And I've also got drill down features in the standard report. By clicking on any line in the report, I can drill down, and that's taking me into my detailed nominal activity report, and I can click again and actually go right the way into the data entry screen for this field, for this account on this report. Now we can edit this, as long as it's not been through a VAT return, I can edit this sales screen or the data entry screen, but once it has been through a VAT return, this will be locked down. I won't be able to make any amendments. So let's go back a couple of steps into the main report, into my main standard report, and we'll jump straight into the new customizable smart report. I can either do that by going to reporting and going to my customizable report here, but I've actually got a shortcut and I'm going to jump straight into the new customizable report by clicking on try new report. So here my customizable profit and loss is now opened. If we now click on change view, I've got 3 pre-configured views of the report set up so that I can actually view my data by current month, which is the default view, by prior year comparison, and I can actually view that per month. Now the default view combines the best of both the profit and loss comparative and the profit and loss standard, and it brings it into a single report that further enhances your ability to customize the report layouts. Now we can do that by clicking on change date range. So if I come out of there and click on change date range, we can now select from the date ranges shown, either this month, this quarter, last quarter, this year, last year, or I can customize it by clicking custom date range and change that there. Leave it on this month, and then I can add a comparison period. I can add a previous period or prior year. If I add a previous period, I can show the variances as amount, a percentage, or both. But I'm going to leave it on this month for now, for this demo. And back in change view, I'm going to select prior year comparison, and this will show the balances for the current month and a year to date for both the current and previous financial years, including a variance percentage. So let's run that view. So here we can see that view, and any negative variances, which are shown in red at the bottom here, we can see negative variances, indicate a drop compared with the previous year. Now, in addition to this, we can add filters. So if I scroll up and click on add filters, I can actually add up to 2 analysis types that you can apply in settings. So this, once you've applied those and created your analysis types, I can actually tag all of my transactions so that we can report on separate projects within the business. So let's add in, I'm going to add in a department. Now, because I've made two changes to, I've made one in terms of adding a filter, and I've done one in terms of the layout with the prior comparison. This now allows me to save it as a view. So I'm going to call this August 25 view. I can add a description if I want to, save this in, and this means this is now saved as a custom view, which I can access at any time. Let's come out of there by clicking on Change View. So I've got my custom view. I've actually reached my maximum, so I'll need to come in here after today's webinar and delete some of these off. But that's good in terms of we can actually show a maximum of 10 customizable views. And then you can run that against your data whenever you want without having to choose the comparisons and choose the filters each time. So let's go back into my normal profit and loss view. So if I just go to customizable, sorry, and in settings at the top right, I can now go in here and choose how I want to show balances. I can show those either as period movement only or as a rolling cumulative amount, just by choosing the bullet points. And also I can show whether I want to show account balances per category total. So as with the standard report, drill down balances are available in all the reports in your smart reporting or customized views. So any balances that you want to analyze, you can drill down on the balances to see the detail. And you can do that by clicking on any underlined balance. So if I click on an amount which spans more than one account or more than 1 month, it'll open up in my normal activity summary report. And if I click on the balance again, it'll open a single account for the month. It'll open up in my detailed report. So I can click on the amount again. So let's click on this credit. And here it's taken me into the data entry screen for that amount. Again, I can edit this as long as it's not been through a VAT return. So when you're happy with that report, let's just move back a step. When you're happy with this report, you can click on Share. And here you can find your export options. So I can either export it or send it via email as an attachment. But if I click on Export, here I've got the options of PDF, Excel, or CSV. If I choose to export this via Excel, let's export that. And I'm just going to open up this Excel report. Now, if you just bear with me, this is opened up on my other screen. I'm just going to drag this across. So as you can see, if you choose to export to Excel, all Excel exports are opened in predefined Excel worksheet templates for further analysis. So all you need to do is enable editing by clicking here, and then you'd be able to do further analysis in Excel itself. One other thing I just did want to quickly show you in this report is I can actually expand this to full screen by clicking on Show Full Screen. That'll maximize the view of your data. And when you're ready to come out of that, you just X out of it and it'll bring you back to the normal screen. So I'm just going to go back to my full reporting set here and go back to my slides to take you through the next section of balance sheet. So the balance sheet report provides a snapshot of your financial position by summarizing its assets, liabilities, and equity. So the balance sheet is also known as the statement of financial position, and it provides a snapshot of your business's financial health. So it shows assets, which is what your business owns, liabilities, which is what your business owes, and the equity, which is the remaining value for shareholders. And this report helps assess liquidity, financial stability, and investment potential. So the balance sheet follows a fundamental equation, which is assets equals liabilities plus equity. And this ensures that everything your business owns, or otherwise the assets, is either financed by debt, your liabilities, or by the business owners and shareholders, which is your equity. So let's jump straight into a demonstration of the balance sheet. So I'll just bring my software back up. And we're going to go into the standard balance sheet here firstly. Again, this is our date range filterable out of the box report, which has got our full drill down capabilities. If I click on this, it'll drill down into my summary report and allow me to click again into the detailed report and then again into the data entry screen for each account. I've got my full exporting functionality to CSV and PDF. And I can change my date range here and then recalculate. So like I said, a balance sheet is a snapshot of your business financial position at any given day, and it's usually calculated at the end of the quarter or year. And balance sheets are also useful in summarizing your business's assets and liabilities. So to jump straight into the new report, which I can get to from my reporting suite screen, click on try the new report. It's opened up straight away, and now we can select change view. And here we can see again there are the three predefined views set up for you to give you three ways of viewing your data, either year to date, per month, or prior year comparison. If you set up any custom views, you've got those available in custom view. And here under change date range, you can select a new date range just by clicking our handy date range descriptions, and that enables you to always know exactly what date range you're going to be reporting on. But you do have the ability to define your date range and the additional ability to choose how the data is shown. Also, if you scroll down from the date range section, you can add columns for your selected months, quarter, year, or leave it on the total. I can also add a comparison column for previous period and prior year. And I can choose how I want to show the variances as an amount, a percentage, or both. I can also show how I want to actually show or hide my accounts. I can actually leave the nominal accounts on show by leaving it on, or switch the nominal codes off by clicking the toggle button here. Again, we can view the full screen mode by clicking on show full screen. And don't forget, by clicking add filters, and then add on analysis types, you can show the information held against each specific analysis code that you can set up in settings and then business settings. Now, I've called mine department, cost center, or project, but you can go into your settings and rename those and choose whatever you like, whether it's a business area or a salesperson's name, whatever you want to choose as a department, a cost center, or a project. When you're happy with your report, you've two options available in Share. You can either export the report, again, PDF, Excel, or CSV, or send that as an attachment via email. If you do export again to Excel, again, it will open in a pre-formatted report layout. Using that option allows you to do further analysis in your reporting data in Excel. So the last report we're going to look at before we move to forecasting is our trial balance. So the trial balance report includes a summary of all your nominal ledger accounts, and it shows cumulative totals of the debits and credits. And you've also got a year-to-date column for comparing balances across periods. So if you do need to investigate specific balances, you can select underlined balances, and that, like I showed you, allows you to drill down, and if the amount spans multiple accounts, it'll open up in the nominal activity summary, and if it's a single account for a specific month, it'll open in the nominal activity detailed report. So the trial balance report displays all ledger accounts, including prior year profits. And let's have a look at that in a demonstration. So bring my software back up. I've still got it open in balance sheet. So if I go to reporting, and then we're going to go to trial balance. So I'm going to open up the standard. So the trial balance report shows a snapshot of the balances for each nominal ledger at a point in time. And the report includes cumulative totals of the debits and credits posted to each account. So again, I've got all my standard reporting here, and I can drill down into each nominal ledger to further analyze these account balances. But we're going to jump into the smart or customizable report. And again, if we click on change view, sorry, not change date range, if we click on change view, you've got your year to date, your current month, and your prior year options. And as with the first two reports, you can add filters in terms of your analysis types. And again, we can change the layout by clicking change date range and change the balance and ledger settings under settings. And again, the export and save options are the same as the other two reports. So those are the three main reports. Let's move straight into the cash flow report demonstration. So your cash flow forecast allows you to report directly from the summary dashboard screen or the report section screen. And you can use the forecast to estimate how much money your business will have or need in the future. So your cash flow forecasting report is used in essence to cost out and do what if scenarios, or percentage flexes, if you will. So let's go straight into the main report. So I'm still in the trial balance here. If I click on reporting, and then let's go to my summary tab. You can access your cash flow forecast from the reporting suite. But it's really handy here on the summary tab. As you can see, I've got my main global navigation bar, but further underneath, I've got my dashboard navigation, which allows me to look at sales, purchases, cash flow statement, and the one we're looking at now for cash flow forecast. So to use this, all you need to do is enter the dates that you want to view the cash flow forecast for in the from and to boxes, and it'll run that for you. And if required, we can scroll down and we can enter the manual adjustments out to cost out a potential expense, for example. So here we can see we've got our manual adjustments here, which will never be reflected in your main reports, by the way. This is purely for the forecasting report only. So if I click on the edit icon, I want to cost out what this is going to look like if I want to, say, purchase a van in a week, well, 10 days time. Save that in. I can see if my cash flow is going to cover that cost. So we can see the spike in money out, but my cash flow is going to cover that cost. So these adjustments are only for the purpose of the forecast, and you can do the same with wages, and you can do this as often as you like to cost out what it's going to look like to your cash flow. So underneath the manual adjustment, I've got my payroll costs for the forecast period, and I can make edit, put the date in, the details and the amount, and see how that affects my cash flow as well. So you can do that the same as you can for the manual adjustments, but this does not update your ledgers, and any adjustments made before the specified start date are reflected in your opening balance. Now, to view a more detailed cash flow statement, you can actually go into the cash flow forecast report and click on detailed breakdown and select detailed. And if I want to view any outstanding transactions prior to the date that we're running the cash flow for, all I need to do is click on view prior transactions, and this brings up those transactions prior to the date that we're running the detailed breakdown. Again, I can export all of this to CSV or PDF. So just want to go over the cash flow. The values calculated for the cash flow statement are from payments and receipts that have already been paid or received. And the values on the forecast are based on when payments and receipts are due, based on the due date that you've set on your invoice. The opening balances that you see are the net value of money in and out, less any liability at the date before running the cash flow statement or forecast. And your cash flow in includes the total value of your customer receipts, your supplier refunds, any other income, and your bank transfers and deposits. And your cash flow out includes the total value of your supplier payments, your customer refunds, any other expenses, and any bank transfers. The closing balance is the total cash flow in less the total cash flow out, and that's owed to others. So if you have any VAT liability for this period, it'll appear and is based on being the standard VAT scheme. So we've had the demonstration. So just before I go through your support options, I just want to remind you to please pop any questions that you've got in the Q&A panel in your GoToWebinar window. I'll have a look at those when I get a chance when I've gone through your support options and a quick couple of slides I've got on MTD, Making Tax Digital. So now let's look at any further support options that you've got available to you whilst using Sage Accounting. So I wanted to take this opportunity to draw your attention to the Help Centre in Sage Accounting should you need any further support, as well as being able to access keyword searches in our help articles or scroll down to use the support hubs. So please note you can always use the Help Centre when you're in Sage Accounting by clicking Help, which is always available at the top right-hand corner of your screen. And there are links in your handout included in this slide. I also wanted to take this opportunity to cover off Making Tax Digital, which is going to become more important as we go through the next few months and years. And it's important to realize that you are already compliant if you are registered for VAT and you are using Sage Accounting. So you're compliant in terms of keeping digital records by simply using this software. So in December 2022, the government announced a phased approach to MTD for income tax self-assessment from April 2026 rather than April 2024. So this will begin with self-employed individuals and landlords with income over £50,000 from April 2026. And from April 2027, this will roll out to those with an income between £30,000 and £50,000. And the rollout to businesses under £30,000 will be reviewed and more information will be provided at a later date. So following on from that, we are excited to launch a new free webinar designed to help sole traders and landlords get ready for the biggest change in tax reporting, MTD, Making Tax Digital for Income Tax. So as I've just explained, from April 2026, the phased rollout of MTD begins and huge numbers of sole traders and landlords will need to comply with the new legislation. So this means digital record keeping using the software and quarterly submissions to HMRC will become the new norm. So we've got 2 sessions available in August, Thursday the 14th and Thursday the 26th of August. So Thursday the 14th is at 2 p.m. and Thursday the 26th of August is at 11 a.m. So please use the booking link on this slide to join us for a clear and practical walkthrough of Making Tax Digital, or MTD, for income tax, tailored for sole traders and landlords. And this session will help you understand what's required and how to stay compliant without the jargon. Leading on from this, we are currently offering a free online training course for MTD income tax. And with this, you'll get a free digital badge that can be used on all social media platforms. The course is available through Sage University or Sage U on our website. And I've included a link on this slide if you download the handout. Great, so I'm going to look at any questions that have come up today. Please use the question panel in the go-to sidebar if you haven't already done so. And please note I've included 2 sets of slides, like I said, one for you to use the embedded links and one for you to use because it's black and white if you wish to print. So I'm going to see how my colleagues have been getting on answering questions. I'm going to go on mute for a couple of minutes. I will come back with any questions that I feel are valuable. Thank you. Great, so we've had some excellent questions here. I'm just going to go through a few now. So when you export or email a custom P&L, how do you know what departments? So if you choose to show departments in separate columns, even if you're just running the report for one department, it will show the department number as a column heading. If you choose to combine the option though, combine departments, you won't see the department number on the report. So can you add a comparison year end versus a current year to date column in the balance sheet report? So in the change date range option, you can select to run the report for this year to give you a current year. And then in the comparison underneath, select prior year, and that will add the prior year column onto a report for you. So are there any plans or is there any way to be able to select more than 5 categories from the analysis types? For example, if you've got 10 purchase order numbers, can the report show all 10 in their own columns at the same report? So the limit is still 5 maximum. You would need to rerun the report for additional categories 5 at a time. We're not aware of any plans to change this in the near future. So can the reports be locked down? In other words, if you produced a report for, say, the 31st of July, and then issue these reports but receive a new invoice later in August that should have been entered in July, do the reports that are sent now change? So the reports can't be locked, but you can set a lockdown date in the program so that transactions can't be posted to a date earlier than the lockdown date. If you do post into an earlier period, then the report would change to include these. So last few questions now. Just going to let you know, so all the questions are great. Keep those coming. I am going to keep the session open for a couple more minutes to answer a few more questions. But if you do wish to leave, thank you for joining today. I can see that I have run over a bit today. Do apologise for that. I'm just going to quickly get the disclaimer up there if you want to cast your eyes over that. But don't forget, as I said, you will receive a link tomorrow with a recording of today's session. So last few questions here. Can the cash flow use the budget for the forecast? So budgets are not picked up in the forecast. Unfortunately, it only looks at expected payments and receipts based on due dates, any recurring income or expenses, and refunds of credit notes. But we will feed that back to our developers for budgeting. And do we know if sole traders will be able to use any free software for MTD purposes? So yes, we will have free software for sole traders, and there will be webinars coming. And your current software will also be updated to include the income tax module. So I am going to stop the broadcast because we have run over today. But thank you very much. We've had one last question to come in. Let's come in there. 2 seconds. Can I hold budget numbers for P&L reporting? So in the Plus version, you get the option to set up budgets per nominal code, and this gives you a P&L report, which will give you actuals versus budgets. If you're currently using the standard version, you would need to upgrade to the Plus version, Accounting Plus. Great, that is all the questions answered for today. Thank you very much for attending. I'm going to shut today's webinar down. Thank you very much for attending, and hopefully I'll speak to you again when I host one of the next series of Sage Accounting webinars. Bye for now, everyone.